Victor is instilling a culture of recording all meetings, which I have to say, like
Starting from tomorrow, I'm going to live stream all of my meetings.
all of your life or all of your meetings?
No, just my online live, my online live.
Um, yeah, so quick update on the gathering, and then Alex, I'll let you share. But yes, a lot has happened since we last spoke. I guess when we spoke, Alex, we were at the end tail of the more inside design ideation phase. And I would say we have now stepped out into the big wide world and started spreading the word and making connections with a bunch of very beautiful, inspiring individuals. And yeah, we're both super excited about how it's unfolding. Got lots of energy back from people, a lot of resonance in the space. What's interesting is a lot of resonance from very different parts of the space, right? Or the ecosystems. People understand the idea, they understand the concept, they have really like validated its relevance, I guess, right now for them in their specific sort of, yeah, context and backgrounds and networks. So very beautiful. We had 4 launch webinars, which were very nice spaces for Q&As as well, and kind of laying the foundation, right, of what's going to happen in the next 6 months as well before the gathering. So great. We got super beautiful ideas from people. And we're starting slowly but surely to have a few established camps. So we have a bit more of a map of who sort of like big players will be, you know, those sort of pillars that will hold a big part of the culture of the gathering and the physical space as well. In those, there is the arts camp, which was there already in 2022, but will be great, I think. There is the communications and media and storytelling camp, so led by Barbara, but she's already put together, I think, 10 to 12 organizations. So that's really exciting. We spoke to quite
Cool.
people, yeah, in Costa Rica and Mexico, and apparently Latin America is very excited about the gathering, so that's great. We're gonna try to get some eco villages from there as well, join and build a camp. And a lot more, but yeah, obviously Refi will probably have a camp as well. Wow, I don't know, I forget a lot. And on the side there's also obviously all the activation of the more Portuguese ecosystem, which will be more geared towards, you know, land work, the permaculture gurus and geeks, the syntropic agroforestry, and so on and so forth. So nice, like we're starting to, yeah, see the light, and at the same time it's all very organic and there is still a lot of space to play, right? So I guess that's where we are. And yeah, I made some progress on the info pack that I was telling you about. Thanks to all your documents. Thank you. That was really useful. We'll share that soon. We're just finalizing some things. We finalized the first version. There might be 10 versions at the end of the year of our invitation and, you know, first draft of the website. So we have something fairly professional now to put out into the world, which is nice. And yeah, and more. Yeah, the Council of the Gathering will be a matriarchal structure, which is Victor's strand of genius, which we're really excited about as well. So, whole gathering governed only by women, or like people identifying as women. We're doing some progress on the ecosystem mapping, which I had a very nice chat with Barbara about, and I wanted to tell you about as well, because we are basically mapping different categorizations that exist, including yours, the ones that you have, you know, on your website and in your databases. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm forgetting a million things, but here you have a very rough monologue overview of data things.
Nice.
What did I forget?
Can I add the app that we have spawned off as, or trying to spawn off? We're like trying to spawn off a startup to build the app. Has a name. It's called Pulse. Keep your fingers crossed. One of our person that's hopefully going to lead and steward it for the next year applied for a fellowship to get some funding for it. If not, we'll look for other funding. But yeah, we're kind of like slowly sketching it out and so on and so forth. But yeah, I always was hoped to go in the direction of being its own thing, because building an app and a festival in one container doesn't really make sense, and the app can be made useful for many, many other kinds of gatherings.
Sorry, I forgot the app. I cannot believe. Because you're leading the work stream, but it's one of the most exciting ones. Yeah.
Very cool. Is that let's say matchmaking, networking app with Regen Tribe, or is it a different app?
No, what we need for because if you remember, the gathering is a co-created thing. So the schedule, how do you make the schedule? And if you remember last year, I tried to gather from people because we don't want people to use the phone, be in the real blah, blah, blah. But trying to do it on paper, it was a nightmare. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It was always out of date, half wrong and half out of date. So, and I was like, yeah, you know what, screw it. There's no other way to do it. It's got to be an app. So the real-time updated schedule. And what I really want is, so it makes it very easy for people to publish meetups at any point, right? Like I'm sitting here at the funicular. I'm going to be here for the next half hour. Anybody want to talk about regenerative leadership? I'm here. And people are like, oh, Victor under the tree. He's part of the Good Mountain tribe. I've heard of them, regenerative leadership. I'll go talk to Victor.
Super
So
good.
that's one part of it. And then the other verb, right? The other verb that we want to enable is connecting for action. So the idea is, you came here, you talked to me, and we committed that, I don't know, let's say Good Mountain and Gaianet will do an online webinar about regenerative leadership Q1 2023. And we can publish that, both sides confirm it, and it'll just be pushed to Discord, but your tribe will be able to see it, right? So it will enable to use social pressure, support, and all of this to make things happen. And also be interesting. People are like, oh, Alexander, you talk to Victor, da 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 da. It levels up this flow of connecting for action and also enables your whole tribe to participate in your connections. You can also make connections as a tribe. I don't have the details worked out, but that's the idea.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, spark some additional ideas. We can come back to that later. Yeah, nice.
But the idea is it will be just these two things, and it uses Discord for communication, connects to the region tribe thing, right? I would like it to be part of an ecosystem of different apps. For Spirit Tribe is working on an app. So we'll see how all of these apps can co-work together around one experience.
And that's another camp that's been confirmed, which is the tech camp. It's going to be like a full product design testing sprint in a camp where everyone can bring their non-tested beta version products, and you just have a full camp that's there for that. Really cool.
Yeah, I see it's gonna be a significant upgrade compared to the first edition. Really loved the different camps, different camp focuses. I'm already walking around there, you know, in my mind. Very good.
Nice. Yeah, Gaianet is still the reference camp from 2022, by the way.
Nice. Appreciate that.
Okay, so what's up with you and Gaianet? I'm curious. What are the updates?
Yeah, we are really in a phase of reflecting and evaluating the first, well, almost 4 years that we're on the way now. And what comes out is a clear positioning of Gaianet and strategy and roadmap. So that's all in the process of landing. A big part in that was the network state research paper that I worked on in the past months. If you're interested to understand the network state concept better and how...
Do you know 7 billion presidents on this?
I know the name. I know that they're in our database, but it's been a while since I looked into them.
Okay. Sorry, keep going. Just because you said...
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so I researched the network state as a concept with the research question, does this provide a viable route for the New Earth movement or regenerative movement? You know, Gaianet speaks about New Earth is really at the final destination side of the spectrum. I see regenerative movement as a transition term that will help us get into a New Earth experience. Extensive research, worked on that for a couple of months, and that really helped us see what Gaianet is about. Like, in short, the answer is that some elements are useful, but we definitely don't want to go network state. Only the word state is already, like, we've never aimed for diplomacy, and the word state, when you say it, state, you can feel it contracts. It's an old world term. But it helped us understand really well where we want to go with Gaianet, because some elements are very similar, like build an online community, capable of collective action, start an economy within that community, share needs, share opportunities, give and ask, reward each other, launch your own token, and crowdsource physical hubs where you can then be together in physical, live together, learn together. That's always been part of Gaianet's vision. And in the network state, those are the steps too. The network state then continues saying you can count the civilians and apply for diplomacy. And then you start to really enter legal tracks. So you need to talk with countries, and it's about being recognized and gaining certain status. For us, there's no clear demand for that yet, us as a New Earth movement. We just want to get together. Gaianet's purpose is to unite all contributors to a new Earth in co-creation. So the key word is unite. It's not that we want to be in a sovereign country. Maybe sovereignty it will play a role at some point, and maybe we need to go for diplomacy at some point. It's not a target yet, and there's a chance it may upset regulators and get the old world to push against our movement. And so one conclusion, very clear, is that we as Gaianet, like from the beginning, we have said love in action. That's what we do. That's what we're pioneering in the way we work, the way we organize internally, and what we put into the world. And we want to stay super neutral in that. Like, every movement needs a party that's in the eye of the storm, super neutral, and just holding that vision, holding that change in mind, and connecting. The people, the projects who are doing the actual work come to Gaianet to find each other, to ask for what they need, to get connected with who knows.
Yeah.
That's really the essence. So Gaianet as a regenerative network of networks. So not a network state, but network of networks. And that shows the meta level on which we've been thinking and operating from the beginning, only now we can give words to it.
Yeah.
And now we can create a multi-year roadmap to show people in Gaianet community, the movement, what the steps are towards the new Earth. We've been speaking about the what and why a lot, and now thanks to this research paper, the how is becoming clear. What's the journey that we collectively embark upon? So the coming 6 months in Gaianet will be about solidifying that positioning, and the way we communicate, defining that roadmap and communicating that roadmap, and making our first step to serving the collective as a network of networks. And the product or service that makes most sense to us is a very simple matchmaking agent. Picture Telegram bot like the one from Regen Tribe, only theirs is created as plugin for any community, any network, any conference, to connect on the spot. And Gaianet's bot will be basically the same, but for people who have committed to a certain agreement field. Yes, I'm on a regenerative mission. Yes, I understand we're all one and we're one team. And yes, I'm willing to share my knowledge, my network with fellow brothers and sisters who are on a journey and who have a specific need. Okay, great. Now fill in your detailed profile. Who are you? What do you know? What's your experience? What can people contact you for? And the bot that's being created, it's just a Telegram chat where you can ask for what you need and get connected through that way. That's probably going to be the first paid service that we're setting up with Gaianet as a way to, like, low threshold, high value, attract the first couple of thousand network members into the ecosystem. Yeah. Some insights around this, just to finish this part. Key element in Gaianet will be the database management, because this AI is growing so fast, and matchmaking and language models already now it can do great things. It will grow very fast. We don't need to do much about that, but database quality is the big thing. Having a wide database, so quantity, and having a deep database, quality. And that's what the coming 6 months will be about, to set Gaianet up with the first database of projects, of individuals, getting the bot in and getting people in the network of networks. So golden connections, that's the key word. That's what Gaianet deals in. And a golden connection meaning I'm on my path, I have an obstacle, I need something. Poof, here's a person that can help me pass that obstacle. So that's going to be one of the main KPIs. Number of needs shared, number of golden connections made. And then we're seeing, like, probably part of revenue will go to probably something around planting trees. So number of trees planted can be added to that. Just there's a general direction of what's happening in Gaianet. And of course, there's a lot more to it. But this feels now like a conclusion after 4 years of research, experimentation, prototyping. We've reached the essence of what it's really about, what it always has been about, only now we have the words for it. And we can bring it all back to one simple service as a start of the ecosystem, like Google at the search bar, Gaianet as a matchmaking app, and behind that a whole landscape of additional services and solutions can unfold. But we're moving step by step.
Very, 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 very cool. Wow. Yeah. I was about to ask, did you speak with Simon, who is making an app called Regen Match?
Not yet. Which Simon?
Simon Grant. He was at Liminal Village for 3 weeks or a month recently.
Was he working on it with Roberto?
Yeah.
I heard that Roberto was making an app.
Yeah.
I understood from Bart that it's slightly different.
I think so. Yeah.
But nevertheless, I love to connect with them over this.
I just think it might be
Understand what's
interesting.
going on.
In that it's for sure not the same, and it for sure maybe you can anyway. Yeah, super interesting. Very, very cool. Victor, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just thinking that maybe our role is becoming making sure the right person knows about the right person, and that they're either collaborating or competing effectively or whatever is the best for the ecosystem. So it's nice. Always happy to make connections.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that's really what Gaianet has been about from the beginning. This notion of we need new systems, regenerative systems, for us, the humans, and the solutions are already there. Somewhere in the world, there's our geniuses with the right solutions for our problems. We need to connect. That's the big challenge, is to connect, to interconnect, and to connect with the right person at the right time. So that's what Gaianet has always been about, and that's how we see at least the role of Gaianet.
Yeah.
Doing nothing, connecting everyone who's doing it.
Yeah. Very cool. It's super interesting for me to hear you, as you're saying, like put the words on what you already knew and everyone around already knew, especially in playing with those ideas, which are fairly, I mean, very aligned and fairly similar to how we see the value of the gathering as well, right? Except that we're like a one-off, once every 2 years physical event, and you're doing like the constant work, kind of weaving all the way, right? But it's really interesting, really cool. And I mean, the question we've been asking a lot in the past weeks with Victor was, okay, sure, being in the same space is great, but how do we connect for action? How can we have like impact as a clear KPI on the event? How do we make sure it's not just another event where we meet and we have fun and we hug and then we go and not much has changed, right? So I really connect with what you were saying about the KPIs and yeah, how do we share needs and so on and so forth. Super interesting. Wow, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and same in Gaianet, we're like we love physical gatherings, and we see the value in that. Like the magic is around the campfire, right? The magic is in the hugs and the personal connection. Only Gaianet, as network of networks, is a very virtual. It's very digital. So there's always this tension field in Gaianet. It's like we want to host physical gatherings. There's no capacity. If we want to do the virtual part really well, we need to put full focus on that. Right. And that's why such partnerships make so much sense. And this notion of, hey, here's a gathering full with amazing people, but how do we stay connected and how do we reach each other when we're not in the same space? That's the blank that Gaianet is looking to fill.
Yes, and like this is, I think the question we got the most in our launch webinars was, this is great. How do we stay connected? What happens after? How do we not like go back to our life? How do you as the organizing team ensure that this is really happening, you know? And we can just say register onto Gaianet.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, we seriously we can think it through, but I think it's really beautiful how it's like it's a very similar mission, but we're just like coming in at different points, right? And at different levels.
Yeah, we each bring in our own core competency.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Victor.
So can you hear me okay, by the way?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here is where I pitched the gathering of tribes, because it's exactly the point for when it's too much of a pain in the ass to organize your own festival, do a camp at gathering of tribes. This could be our sub motto.
Yeah.
And also the other way to really think about it is it's a great leadership incubator. So I don't expect that tribe leaders would organize their own camp. It's a great thing for somebody who is young, energetic in the community that wants to try their hand at leadership, to learn organizing stuff and making something happen. And then it becomes a really interesting and attractive proposition. We're going to have a camp incubator. Segue, Audrey.
Which will wow, I was not ready. We're not at that level of team connection. No, we are. Yeah, I spoke with Alex already about the camp incubator, I think. But yes, the camp incubator is, I would see it as twofold. It's overall a supportive process for the camp building, and the support comes from different levels, right? One, it's from the organizing team, obviously through, well, Alex, we spoke about it. That's why you shared with me the Gaianet documents and so on, right? But we've created quite a lot from this. And then the other thing, which is even more important to me, is support between camps, right? Like I don't really want to be telling people what to do and how to do it. I'm here if they need me. And also I have no illusions about how many people will actually open and use this Excel budget that I made, probably about 5%. But that's fine. Even if it's 5%, it's still good enough. But it's really about how can we like already start what you were saying, Alex, weaving this connection and opening spaces for voicing needs for the gathering and beyond, and answers and so on and so forth 6 months before. And the big element of the camp incubator is obviously the culture building, right? Which I know from my own experience of interacting with Gaianet, I can see how in the onboarding questionnaires you've put a lot of thought, I imagine, and energy into like what questions are you asking people and what are you asking them to confirm in terms of their values and their alignments and what they commit to by joining the community and so on. And the incubation process is also partly about this, right? Except that for us, the frame of the culture and the values is still quite open. We also really want people to come in and provide this, right? Yeah. Is that what you were queuing, Victor, or not at all? Did you get the wrong content? Okay, he's gone.
Sorry. So yes, that was the exact practical details. And the pitch is we've made building a camp as easy as possible. It'll be half the effort of 2024, 2022. So we're too busy or it's too much work is not an excuse we accept from Gaianet. If you honestly tell me, I don't think it aligns with our vision strategy for what we're doing to build community, then fine. But like, it's too much trouble. I'm not going to take as an excuse from Gaianet.
I mean, what do you say to that, Alex?
I would say the same in your position, and I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, and it's just like the level of synchronicity is so high. You know, it's like Gaianet's purpose is to unite all contributors to a new Earth in co-creation. That's our North Star. So all activities, all projects, all work we do should be aligned with that purpose. And I think of all the physical gatherings and conferences that take place next year, I think a gathering of tribes has the highest level of alignment, vision alignment with the new Earth, value alignment. So if there's one physical event for Gaianet to be present, I would say is there. So for me, I'm in the modus of what is the smartest way to organize it without the Gaianet's core team people needing to spend 50, 60, 100 hours on it. So I really want to connect with the community to form a team. I can advise them. And there's a documentation from you, Audrey, from the organization, my experience from last year. I just want to have a team captain to speak with and make sure he has 5 others around him and go do it. And so that I only have to show up and tell a whole bunch of other people to come. And that way we can keep it low effort.
And my question, Alex,
myself and us.
Yeah, sorry. My question is how, with the new roadmap and everything that you're bringing forward now with Gaianet, how can you get the gathering and the organization of your camp at the gathering fit into that, like support what you're already working on, rather than being one more item on your to-do list? Like what objectives can you merge with this organization? There is a lot, of course, right? But yeah.
Yeah,
Because as
exactly.
Victor was saying, it's like, to me, I'm not even interested in inviting organizations or people and like pushing them to do it when they don't have time and energy and they see it as this thing that they have to carry. It's the opposite, right? Like it needs to support you. That's the whole point. It needs to help your organization. It needs to give energy and not take from it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think if I project forward for the next year, if the first 6 months are about setting the infrastructure in place, so preparing the databases. Like, by the way, we have access now to 50,000 plus regenerative projects in the databases. Like,
What?
it's thanks to one party we connected with. Separate from that, we're already at 3,000. So combining that, making it searchable, that's a big part, and then onboarding individuals. So the first 6 months are about getting the databases ready and the bot ready, and the second 6 months are about onboarding the first 1,000 people. Maybe we can go up to 5, 10,000 people, but let's see. There's also operational implications. We rather move slow and get it right the first time than overstretch, overextend. But in that sense, I can totally see that a Gathering of Tribes visit aligns with a potential key goal for Gaianet's second half of the year of onboarding the first 1,000 regenerative beings in there. So that's one part, and the second part is about growing the Gaianet team. Currently still on a voluntary basis, but we have an apprenticeship, so a learning experience all lined up. The whole process is there to onboard people to learn how to work in a self-organized environment. And that's really New Earth embodiment. It's like there's no hierarchy. Nobody is the boss. Any regenerative project that works like this kind of raises question marks in me because we need to live it and be it too. And we have a whole structure lined up for that, for people to flow in, fulfill a role in Gaianet, learn how to work this way, and help build the network of networks or a network of networks. So those are the two main wins I see for Gaianet's presence is users, community members, and apprentices, as we call them, who can grow to be core contributors in the Gaianet organization.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm very excited to see where you guys are on the 18th of December 2024. Honestly, it's gonna be a year for you. Nice. Okay, guys, I'm conscious of time and I have to go at 5 p.m. and I could talk about this for hours. I just want to bring in, well, first I want to open space for questions from you, Alex, if any, on the gathering, and then I wanted to bring in the opening ceremony quickly.
Right. Now, just to verify, it will be in Portugal, right?
Correct.
And location is still to be defined?
Still to be defined. If you have any leads, please let us know. Yeah.
Cool.
We have
cool.
a few leads, but yeah, nothing closed yet in terms of contract.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we have more than leads. We have conversations going.
Yeah, sure.
So it doesn't make people worried. We will in the next 3-4 weeks have a land.
Yeah,
Nice.
just to clarify on the land, I mean, we're being quite, I think, we really want to find the perfect land. It's really important for me. It's not only, the container of the event, it's also a full participant, right? It's about the nature that will be there, the partnership that will, so it's really important. We don't want to rush into it. So yeah, nothing worrying. I'm just, we've been looking for the perfect land for 3 months, so it will manifest in the next 10 days.
Super good. Super good. Yeah, just checking in if my information is up to date. I'm very happy that the dates are known. So that already helps me. I blocked it in my calendar. I sent that calendar invite to some more people who I think should be there. And it just already helps to keep the ball rolling, get the ball rolling. So yeah, that was my only question at this point.
Okay, nice. All right, humans, opening ceremony. So 2 things I want to bring to you first, Alex. Well, number 1 is thank you for this beautiful conversation last time, and thank you for taking it with you. And
By the way, did we figure out what the next step with Gaianet is? So they need to figure out you guys need to figure out how to do it so it's not a burden. But I think you can do a commit call and then that's what most people have been doing, and then find a captain for your camp.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely up for it. I just want to align with the core team first. I've been bringing it in and people are enthusiastic and I'm also being challenged.
you want me to
Hopefully this video will be useful. One more thing wanted to throw in. It's a detail, but we're going to be you get to sell tickets to your camp through our platform. So you set your price that you want, and then we collect the money and give you your part. So we're really bending over as backwards as much as we can. Also for food, you can cook food, or there'll be festival style vending so people can eat their own. So you don't even need to do food. So really the bar of entry is very low for doing a camp. You can just come with a bunch of tents and roll up and have a good time.
Nice.
And connect for action.
And you can make it financially viable for yourself, right? Like the way I see it is your camp leader can get paid from this. You just need to add 15 euros to your camp ticket price. Like, of course, there can be a salary for the organizing team or this is up to you to decide, but it doesn't have to be, yeah, a loss.
And another option is sponsorship. I mean, the gathering itself is not taking on any sponsors, but every camp is welcome to get sponsorship from whoever is aligned with them.
Yeah. Yeah, super good. Been looking into that indeed as well. Ticket prices, what we offer as a camp, and also so that key organizers can receive some compensation. So that's cool. Thank you for pointing that out. And indeed, I think the overall organization is not so challenging anymore with our experience from last year and what you're offering here, ticket sales, food, when that's arranged, and we go a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, it will make a difference, I think. Yeah, I was saying, Alex, if you want me to be in one of your team meetings, if it helps, I'm super happy to. I mean, I trust that, but yeah, I'm just offering.
Yeah, thanks. I think this recording will help. I'll gladly share this also with the team. And I mean, it's fair, you know, we are like very organized, focused, purpose driven, you know, so it's like fair to say, hey, is it worthwhile? There's always opportunity cost. You know, if we go for gathering of tribes, it means we cannot do certain other things. What is that trade-off like? And I'm being challenged on that by the core team, which I really appreciate. It will need 2, 3, max 4 weeks to land.
Yeah.
Let's say also because we're in the holiday period now and we're in that strategy and goal definition period. So all of that comes together and will result in our calendar and goals for the next year.
Nice. Cool. Okay, so opening ceremony, thank you. Opening ceremony, so there's just, before we start, one thing I wanted to bring to you, which is, did I mention the council of the gathering?
You mentioned it, but it's
Yeah.
good that you bring it up because I had some questions like what's the purpose and accountabilities of this council? It's my main question.
Yeah. So the council of the gathering is a full work stream, obviously, right? That's led by Rob Dreaming mostly as a council expert, right? And our team. The purpose of the council is to be the governance structure of the gathering of tribes during the events. But we do really want to bring that in as a culture beforehand. So we will have at least a couple, if not more, council meetings online before the events. And we are working with Rob to define some key values, which are also a spin-off from the council values, which we plan to use in all of our meetings and so on. So this is also a big sort of culture building bit. In more practical terms, the way the council will work, we're still defining the details, but more or less the council will be made up of 1 or 2 camp members or leaders, which will be freely elected by each camp. And the council will meet at least once a day as a full circle to discuss any issues arising, right? You know how the council works. And if necessary, there will be smaller council, which will be on specific issues that need addressing. I had a fight with my neighbor under this big tree, and he was being horrible to me. You know, we don't need 900 people to attend that council, but some people might be interested in it. So yeah.
One can play loud music at night and
I don't
people
know.
don't sleep.
Who would do that? TDF. Yeah. So fairly straightforward, right? And part of this council structure will also be that this came from Rob, and I think it's a really interesting idea. In the same way as in a village or in a festival of festivals, we will support as much as possible through that structure, close collaboration and support between camps, meaning we will have a sort of daisy chain of, if I'm here and I have an issue, I will first go to here, my neighbors. And if they can help me, then I will go there, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So there is a whole ecosystem of collaboration that is happening live during the gathering, but also we don't need to get 500 people involved for everything because we have stuff to do. We're running workshops and we're having dialogues and conversations and so on, right?
Yeah.
So that's that. And then, yeah, as I said, Victor came with the genius idea of the council being a fully matriarchal structure, which I think is amazing. So
What does that mean?
that means women only will govern this whole space of 1,000 people for 5 days. Self-identified women. Yeah. So
Yeah. Cool.
this is
Cool,
not
cool.
fully public yet. So we're very much looking forward to all the questions and all the, but what if my camp doesn't have a woman in it? It's like, well, you should. So here you go. But yeah, it's very much a fresh idea, but that's where we're going. The reason I'm bringing that to you is because I think it is important also in terms of its relation with the opening ceremony, just so you have a wider understanding of like how does this group of humans come together, right? This mini society. Also because one of the things that came as Victor was bringing forward this matriarchal structure was, I think it's quite important, we think it's quite important for the opening to be held by a man and a woman. And I wanted to share that with you. And I'm curious about your thoughts as well. Maybe you want to, Julia, I don't know, but yeah, there's that. And the last thing I want to say, and then I open it to you, is in one of our webinars, we had a very interesting guy called Brad who has been, I think, organizing pretty big.
Brad Nye?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Tribal Alliance Region
Yeah.
Week coming here. Yeah.
So he was talking to the importance, obviously, of opening and closing ceremonies as containers for the whole event and what we talked about during our call as well. And I mean, our take with Victor is that, as I said, we definitely don't want to be a part of it. We don't want to speak in the opening ceremony. This is all up to you guys. The only thing that is coming from us, the only intention is, well, one, we recognize the huge importance of it. Two, I think it would be great if it's held by both a man and a woman. And that's it. And then I'm really curious about IDs and so on. And as I said, it's early days. Like for me, there is no rush in terms of defining the content of it, right? But yeah.
Yeah, super cool. I love the idea. I was also smiling because it was in Amsterdam one evening on the balcony that this topic of conversation came up between Julia and me. And, you know, you and I had been talking about it and I didn't really want to embrace it yet. It's also, I don't have to be on the foreground. I'm not a showman. But for years and years and years, I've already been seeing that there's a role for me in somewhere like on stages speaking to people. And so when this vision emerged and I could totally see it and the program roll and like the script rolled out, I'm like, yeah. That landed. And then I wrote you that day. A couple of days later, Julia mentioned to me, she's like, yeah, it's strange, but I keep seeing us together.
Really?
Speaking in front of in front of that group. It's like I don't know why. We'll see what unfolds. But so you bringing this up just yeah, it explains. It resonates.
Keep bringing on the synchronicities. What can I say? Yeah, well, and yeah, in this I'm super curious about what you can bring forward. Well, you know, imagine it will be 1,000 people. There's lots. Also, it probably won't be 1,000 people that first night, but it's going to be at least 3, 4, 5 times more than in the 22 gathering. And I would say a feedback that I got again and again from the 22 gathering was the fact that people loved it, da 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 da. And what a lot of people missed was this sense of unity. They didn't necessarily feel the mycelium of like, why are we here actually? Like, what is the thing that unites us here? So everyone is saying that it was amazing people, so many connections, but and I really see the role of the opening ceremony in this thing of like, why are we here? Like, what is the one thing that we all have in common? Given you're speaking to a very diverse audience, right? And I mean, this thing can be whatever.
Yeah.
Opening up
Yeah,
to you. Yeah.
it, It resonates fully. I found the opening ceremony really beautiful, and it did touch upon the tribal element and the heart space. And I think it can be extended with certain words, a certain framing, but also certain embodiment experiences to really feel that unity. Because it's a unique opportunity to set the space, to define the container that we'll be walking around with in for 5 days. So yeah, some ideas that came up include like it's a bit of everything, right? You want to share some information and you want to give some emotion. You want to share some things that people can hear and understand, and you want to do some physical things with the people. It needs to be simple because it's a big crowd, moving a big crowd, you know, keep it simple, don't make it too complicated. Don't make it too long either. I'm thinking 15 to 30 minutes max is plenty. What I started to see is, you know, first there's a gentle introduction, like why are we here? That's a big thing. And I think when you speak there about the vision of a new earth, the understanding of regeneration, I think that speaks to everybody's hearts. And you say very diverse audience, but there are things we all have in common. So first speaking to those things creates a sense of recognition, like, yeah, I am in the right place. Yeah, and everybody around me is nodding. Yeah, you know, it is a very special group of people coming together. And so we can speak to that. Right? I see Victor has his hand up, so let me pause here.
So I had two thoughts around it that came to me as I was listening. All of that sounds great, by the way. Thank you. One thought is that the ceremony should have a balance of head, heart, hands, whatever the fuck that means. But, you know, from moving, chanting to blah, blah, right? It shouldn't be too much in only one mode, right? If it's all blah, blah, why are we here? And the people are all in their brain. So we want them in their body sometimes, but also in their spirit, whatever that means. That's one thought that I had. And then the second thought that I had is really important to think and plan well the closing of the opening ceremony. And I think it should take people into individual dialogue. So maybe we leave people with a question. You know, go around, turn around, talk to some people you don't know, ask them this question. Or some kind of a guiding lightweight. I mean, it's an invitation, right? People do whatever they want. We have no power over them. But an invitation, yeah, try this question to talk to a bunch of people. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely included. I think everyone's together. There we create that sense of unity and also that understanding that everybody's here to connect. Everybody is happy to connect with you. So when you're in doubt about whether to open a conversation with someone, do it. That person will love it as much as you would love somebody else to do it. You know, with little things like that, we can open up for 30%, 50%, 100% more conversations taking place just by bringing out these little social elements, these little
Sorry,
mindset
Alex, you're
things.
thinking much too small. 1,000%, at least 1,000%.
I'm being modest. This can, like, the ripple can be huge.
Yeah.
I really want to speak to the new earth, I think, and it's also something that for Gaianet is a key role as being the network of networks in the center of a storm. It also comes with being a vision holder. In that position, we see a wider spectrum of what's going on than pretty much any organization. And to speak about this more total new earth vision, this new paradigm we're moving towards, it's very important. It's not done enough. And that creates the culture and the social cohesion, the understanding of where are we actually moving towards. So I want to address that too. Yeah, and in terms of embodiment exercises, we have half a year to figure it out, right? But one thing I would love to do, I would love to get everyone to scream and roar from the top of their lungs. Let me hear your power. Let me hear that beast inside. We're all divine super creators. I want to see your lion. Hundreds of people at once. Feel that power. Feel what we have in us as a collective, as a tribe of tribes, right? And with that being a very masculine expression, all together forming a bond, I think a very feminine way to connect could be in, it depends how many people we're having, but I love those spiral hugs, you know, that's a way for 100, 200 people to hug and to
Can I
get
protest?
quiet.
I don't like that. I mean, definitely not at the beginning of the thing, because you'll spread flu and COVID. You can do it for the closing. People can take their diseases back home, but
Just
at
to
least
say,
some degree of social distancing. At the start, especially. Also, if you look at it from another way, we're building intimacy. Many people are not intimate enough yet at that start. At the end, maybe, Anton likes it. Anton always does a spiral of people around him.
I just want to say to the roaring, Alex, it's really interesting because we also have to go at like exactly in 2 minutes. I have another meeting.
All right, yeah.
But we had a very interesting conversation about filmmaking and the documentary that's going to come out of the 24 gathering. And the way we were describing it and talking about it was what we want to represent for that documentary is, and we were trying to find words with Victor, but it was this movement coming alive, right? This power that there is in, look at us, like we're all gathering, something is happening. This is it. So there's this element of like the power and the energy that you can create in the space, but also in each individual person and in all the projects by ripple effect. And this idea of like, fuck, I'm not alone. Like, look at all of those people working together for however you call it, the new earth, regeneration, doesn't matter, right? But like for people to understand that they're not alone and that this is a thing that we are all co-creating in every present moment is super powerful, I think. So yes, to that idea.
Yeah, totally. That's another part I have place for in this speech, is just a moment to look around. Like look
Alex,
around and realize.
shall we let Audrey go, by the way? We have like 2 minutes. If we're going to respect Audrey's time, I think we should go to check out.
Sorry, yeah, I could talk about it for hours.
To be further formed. I can also I can connect with Julia on this idea of doing it jointly and connect with her on what could it look like. I can take your insights with me, like can facilitate anything, right?
Beautiful.
I think we're on a very similar track of the kind of space we would like to open there.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you so much, Alex. Very grateful for you and Gaianet and and you being in the general space of collaboration of the gathering. I think it's super beautiful. Really appreciate your contribution. Yeah. Take care.
Yeah, crazy exciting. Thank you for inviting me to this meeting today. I hope I wasn't too distracting. Amazing. It's going to be start of a, yeah. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, super good. Lots of gratitude to you both for like what you're creating here. I see how it's bubbling. I see how it's connecting. It's going to be completely different than last year because we're now way in time. There's Power Lady Audrey going at it, keeping it all together. I love all the elements you're putting together to this next gathering. So I'm even more on fire than I was before. Yeah, thank you. And Victor, thank you for joining too. Really good to have you here. And I love these little triangles. It always brings more richness to the conversation.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you so much, guys. Alex, I send
Bye-bye.
you can share with people. Ciao, ciao. Speak soon.
Nice.